We just talked a little bit about direct objects, and we find the direct object in the sentence by turning the verb into a question or by asking the verb a question. So I want to take a look at how helpful that idea of asking the verb a question can be to help us form more natural types of sentences when we're writing, when we're speaking. So we'll take a look at that with some basic sentences that we just reviewed. We'll take a look at it with a little more complicated type of sentence, and then we're going to go out into the wild and just look at an article, read through the article, and we're going to apply that technique or ask the verb a question. And let's just see whatever comes after the verb, is that the answer to the question? That can help us when we're writing and when we are speaking. So we start off with very basic sentences. This is a very basic stripped down sentence structure: subject, verb, object. She read a book. What was read? A book. Well, there's our object. They ate pizza. What was eaten? Pizza. Okay, so we've turned the verb into a question. Obviously, the answer is what comes after the verb. That's a very simple, most basic type of sentence. Now, this is a little more advanced type of sentence. We have infinitives in the sentences, the sentence examples. So, okay, let's try it again. He wanted, what did he want? Or what was wanted? To travel to France. She decided, what did she decide? To quit her job. She decided to quit what? Her job. He decided to travel where? To France. They promised what? To help us. We need what? To study for the test. We need to study for what? The test. Okay, so that little trick is
No.
helping us throughout the sentence. It helps us to determine what to put directly after the verb. It's helping us to determine what to put after the infinitive phrase. I hope. What do you hope? To pass the exam. You hope to pass what? The exam. Okay, now we're going to go out into the wild. I pulled a few sentences out of a news article, and we're going to take a look. Not every sentence follows the subject, verb, object structure. There, of course, are other considerations, but let's just take a look at how very often that can help us navigate and instruct us on what comes after the verb or what should naturally come next in the sentence. Okay, just after taking the oath of office. After taking what? The oath of office. This tells us when, earlier this year. Donald Trump vowed what? To overhaul America's trade system. He vowed what, or he promised what? Under his politics, the American dream will soon be back. Okay, let's keep going. His plan. What is his plan? To tear down America's decades-old network of trade deals. What is his plan? To return domestic manufacturing to levels not seen since the 1950s. Okay, then we have our next paragraph, nearly 3 months later. Introductory phrase. We get into the subject of the sentence. We can see what? How poorly that's working out so far. After Trump imposed a 10% worldwide baseline tariff, after Trump imposed what? A 10% tariff. After Trump imposed what? A whopping 145% cumulative tariff on imports from China. Okay. The stock market sank. Other countries retaliated. Our trade partners began what? Looking for leadership elsewhere. Okay. So here we just have a simple, the stock market sank. Simple subject, verb, no object after it, nothing coming after that verb. Other countries retaliated. Okay, subject, other countries. Retaliated is our verb. Our trade partners began. Now we have more coming after that verb, so we can ask our trade partners began what? Looking for leadership elsewhere. Okay. Okay, so we're just pushing through a couple paragraphs of this article. And when I see linking verbs like become, appear, the verb be in any form, then I know linking verbs don't take an object. Okay, so I'm not going to expect that trick or that formula to work. And I see another be verb there, so I'll skip that. For years, comma. Now here's my subject. Trump has treated who or what? Has treated global trade as a zero-sum game. Trump has sold who? His supporters a pipe dream. Okay, so we're going to just pause there. But the point is that using that tool of asking the verb a question, we've seen it work with the main verb of the sentence. We're seeing that work with the infinitive verb of the sentence. But by asking the verb a question and answering that question, we get an opportunity and some instruction on how to have flow in our sentences and have more of a natural sense of phrasing when we are speaking and when we are writing.